Welcome back to Shape Your Life, where we believe your health is your wealth. Continuing with our topic on pregnancy and family planning, we spoke to a gynecologist about the importance of staying healthy during pregnancy. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us on Shape Your Life.
Thank you very much.
Now, as an expert who deals with pregnancy health, why is it so important for a lady to be conscious of her health during pregnancy?
Very important because thank you very much for that good question. It is not just about the mother, it's about the mother and the baby. And the baby, children are the future of our country, the future of the world. So whatever you give into the baby is what you will get out. So if you want a healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, it's very important that first you must go and check up early, before 13 weeks if you can help it, or actually preferably before 13 weeks, because there's a lot of tests that get done, the Sona that checks for Down syndrome and stuff like that, and to go for regular checkups because there's quite a few medical conditions that a doctor can pick up, or a nurse at the clinic for that matter. It doesn't have to be at a gynecologist all the time, but a health professional who knows what they're doing about pregnancy.
Now, what about, high blood pressure during pregnancy? A lot of women suffer from high blood pressure, and at points, it's known as preeclampsia, etc. And they don't understand, why am I suddenly getting this high blood pressure? What would be the cause, and what's your advice to treat that?
Interesting enough, the cause of preeclampsia is pregnancy. It's got nothing to do with stress, and usually they say primary paternity. So every time this is the first date. So even if you've had 2 pregnancies before, now you're having a pregnancy with a different man. But also we know that if you've had blood pressure before, the risk of having it again is there. But most of the time, just by being pregnant, that puts a person at risk. So whether you cut down on salt or whatever, not really as relevant, okay? And then regular measurements, it will develop into preeclampsia. So there's a difference between just blood pressure and preeclampsia. Preeclampsia means the kidneys are starting to leak protein, and as they leak protein, now fluid leaks into the system. That's why the person's legs get swollen, the face get puffy. The water will leak even to the lungs, and this may end up with other problems. If it leaks to the brain, you may end up fitting, and you may even have detachment of the placenta from the womb, and this is very dangerous for the baby. It's like you've suffocated the baby because they've run out of their food. And this condition, especially preeclampsia, is detrimental to the mother and the baby. Sadly, by the time you feel something is wrong, it is too late. It is completely asymptomatic. The only way of knowing that there's a problem is if the blood pressure is measured.
Now, with all these risks associated with pregnancy, it's important for the mother to be very conscious of her health and, her body. I think very important, because if you feel something is not right, always go and have a look at, visit your medical practitioner, have it checked out. But what would your top 5 tips be, or top 3 tips rather, on a mom to really make sure that she has the healthiest pregnancy possible?
Eat healthy. Very important to eat healthy. Obviously, avoid alcohol, avoid cigarette, avoid stress if there's such a thing. Okay. Exercise is very important. There are gyms out there now that only provide for pregnant women, so you can be able to go and do those. And otherwise, go for your regular checkups. Take your medication as instructed. Don't go and take what the neighbor was taking.
Now, when it comes to giving birth, there's essentially 2 options, In the Kasi, they call it either the sunroof, where you can look at the cesarean section, or you look at the natural birth. Now, what are the pros and cons to each? And is there any recommendation you would have for the ladies, or is it a personal preference?
I don't usually advise unless there's a medical indication to do so. So if there's a medical indication to have a cesarean section, definitely. Like we now know that if a baby comes by breech, that means baby's coming by the bumps, it's safer to deliver by cesarean section. But otherwise, we always say that the best person to determine whether they'll be able to come out or not is the baby.
My final question to you is very simple. Is that what would the recovery process be? And, for the lady that's experiencing a natural birth? Because many people struggle with the weight gain, they suffer with potential postnatal depression, etc. But there's also a medical side to the recovery period. Some people say 6 weeks, some people say 8 weeks, and then get back into the normal swing of things. So what could they anticipate on their body readjusting to now having given birth?
Usually within 6 weeks, the body should be back to normal. Or back to functional level, yes. Because hormones like progesterone makes the joints to be soft and pliable, so that as the baby is growing, the body can accommodate that. But it will also have problems like now the back is too weak. So we always advise when you're breastfeeding, support your back. Always make sure that if you're sitting, there's always support, or otherwise lie down and things like that. That will not come back immediately. But unfortunately, what people are doing now, they deliver in the metropole, they don't have support system, they find themselves being up sooner, you know. And in the olden days, there will always be an elderly lady that would be there to support. Fortunately, that we don't have to worry about that. We've got physiotherapists who do that, urogynecology physiotherapists who specializes in pelvic floor, who specializes in making sure that the abdominal muscles are strengthened and the back muscles, and they can then advise you. And it's important to see these people before you deliver, so that after you deliver, it's not the first time you see them.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wonderful expertise with us. And you know, I think our message to the ladies out there would be is have a safe pregnancy, have a healthy pregnancy, and look after yourself to look after your baby.
True. Thank you very much for your time too.
There are certainly supplements that one can use to aid with reproduction, but are there food items that help when it comes to fertility? We spoke to our dietitian from Crazy for Food, Tony Henderson. Take a look. Tony, thank you for joining us in studio.
It's a pleasure, Ron. Thanks for having me.
When people have fertility issues, the first point of call for them would be to go to their doctor, and they have this picture of all these hectic medical tests. But does healthy nutrition play a role for men and for women?
Healthy nutrition can definitely play a role, because when you're eating well and if your nutritional status is good, all the processes in your body are working better. So if you really are looking at falling pregnant and you're struggling, looking at your nutrition is a very important place to focus on as well, over and above all the medical stuff.
Now, when you look at the men and the women, are there different nutritional needs that they would have? Because surely with the hormone differences between the two, etc., there could possibly be.
So there are some differences, slight differences, but ideally you just really want them to be healthy. So both men and women need to look at making sure that they're detoxing properly and getting rid of their oxidative stress and that. So eating plenty of fruit and vegetables, and on the vegetables focusing more on the cruciferous veg. So like your cabbage, your cauliflower, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, which just helps your liver to detox. And with the detox, it also helps with your estrogen metabolism. So both men and women have estrogen. It's not just for women. And if your estrogen metabolism is working properly, it also helps your hormones to regulate properly.
Now, what do we have to eat to enhance the health of our sperm?
Okay, so the health of your sperm, so you need to be making sure you're getting good proteins, because that's what they're made from. And then the composition of your, what do you call it? The semen is, the main composition is zinc and vitamin C as well as fructose. So you need to make sure you are eating foods high in zinc. So proteins majority, you can take as a supplement if you want. And also make sure you're getting vitamin C in your diet. So citrus fruit, peppers, strawberries, guavas, even chilies are very high in vitamin C. So you need to make sure you're getting those in your diet as well.
What about obesity? Does having a big truncal area really impact one's fertility for men and for women?
So it definitely can, because when you are obese, and especially if you have abdominal obesity, it affects your hormones like insulin. And insulin has a big impact on other hormones. So not just from a fertility point of view, but from a sex drive point of view, being obese can affect your drive and your mood and everything like that, and just make it that much harder to conceive.
Now, when we look at what you've advised us to look at, definitely the fruits, the veggies, you know, all the healthy, you know, food that we should be eating. But what about those that decide to liquidize it or go for a shake or go find a supplement instead and say, I don't have time to eat fresh fruits and veggies, but I'd rather juicify it and have that?
Okay. So if you're liquefying it or like making juices, it's better to do a smoothie where you got all the fiber still, rather than juicing stuff completely, is far better. If you're looking at shakes and powders and things like that, it's not always advised, because unfortunately they're not regulated in the country and you don't know what's going to be in there. If you are going to supplement, however, you do need to make sure, especially for women, that you're getting enough folic acid, because that plays a huge role in the early development of the fetus. So in your smoothies, or even you can do soups if you want to, make sure you're getting a lot of green vegetables, because that's a very good source of folic acid. And you can supplement with folic acid. It is usually recommended because we need folic acid within the first 6 weeks of pregnancy, and you don't always know you're pregnant by that stage.
Tony, what are your final few tips for those people that are struggling to conceive and dealing with the stress of also, not being able to conceive? So there's a physiological and a psychological concern with them. What would you advise them?
I would advise them to just be patient. It's not that easy to fall pregnant. Somebody said to me the other day, when you're trying to fall pregnant, there's no romance in it. And you've just got to focus on keeping yourself healthy and happy, and hopefully the pregnancy will come.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing those experts' insights with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Getting into shape doesn't always have to be mundane and boring. One can find ways of making it fun and easy. Do join us in our exercise routine for this week. With this workout today, I have a piece of equipment with me. This is called an exercise band or a TheraBand. It offers you a little bit of resistance when you're doing particular resistance exercises, but also some flexibility. Today's workout is all about utilizing an exercise band for the upper body and for some flexibility exercises. Ladies, are you ready? All right, let's give it a go. So first things first, we're going to work the arm muscle. So grab it in each hand, place it on the floor and put your foot in the middle, and up you come. And all that I want you to do is right hand first, lift it up for a bicep curl, then left hand up. All right, so let's go right hand first, right and left. Now you keep your back upright, engage your core and squeeze those biceps. All right, good. The front part of the arms are warm, and for the guys, they love that. They always want the big biceps with the big guns. But for the ladies, we have to focus on the triceps because a lot of fat gets deposited in that area. So for the triceps, what I want you to do is place one end on the floor, stand on that. Make sure you got a firm grip on it. Arm goes behind you, tummy comes in tight, and you straighten your elbow up and drop it down. Straighten up and drop the hand down. You're doing 15 repetitions on each side, focusing on the tricep muscle. Change hands. Let's go. All right, on to the next one. Keep your foot there, grab it in the one hand, and we're going to be doing shoulder raises, okay? So from that position, back upright, raise it up to the side and drop it down, focusing on the shoulder of the deltoid area. 10 repetitions on each side. Let's go. Raise and down. Change hands, change legs. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Good, relax it down. Now, we promised you some flexibility as well. Now, the way you stretch with the resistance band is very easy, it's very simple. You can stretch the upper body, but you can also stretch the lower body. You're going to start off by stretching the hamstrings. So what I want you to do is take your right foot forward, loop it over your sole of your foot, back upright, keep it taut, lean forward and slowly raise your toes off the floor and pull back and hold it there. Good. Change legs. Good, relax it down. And the final stretch, of course, for the upper body. Now, I want you to double up on your TheraBand. Hold it up over your head, and all that I want you to do is drop it in front of you and twist back and in front. So let's go to the right first, twist and up. Now this loosens up the lower back, engage your core and enjoy this final stretch and mobility exercise. Good, relax it down. Now that's how simple it is to do a workout with an exercise band. There are hundreds of exercises you could do with it. It's up to you to get going whether you have it or not and keep your body in check. Remember, your first wealth is your health. And by exercising and eating healthy, you're investing into something you could never get back, and that is good health. That's all we have for you this week. Do keep in touch with us via email on shapeyourlife@ann7.com for all your health-related queries, feedback and topic suggestions. From me, Ronald Abaji, goodbye.